I know that herbalism can feel so overwhelming, so intimidating, so confusing at first. And so I wanted to share this video with you to really help you on your journey as a beginner herbalist, as someone who's just starting to dive into this massive field of herbalism, which may feel kind of overwhelming, but that's kind of the best part ever because it's so massive, it's so exciting. And so in this video, I want to inspire more excitement from you and really just help you to feel less overwhelmed and really feel into where to start. Like, what are some top tips for a beginner in herbalism? So hello, my name is Sandler. I love to talk about all things earth and spirit, and especially herbalism is something I've been diving into deeply the last few years. And so I really want to share with you what I have been learning as a beginner herbalist, and someone who has so much passion and resonance and excitement for this subject. So keep on watching if you want to learn my top tips, including the most important need to know tip for a beginner herbalist. Keep on watching. My first tip for you is to literally just pick the thing that excites you the most and try it. I feel like, at least like in my human design type, I'm a 1. Comment below if you know your human design profile and if you're also a 1. But I find that it can be so hard for me to try something without having too much knowledge or really having an academic background. Like, having this like concrete knowledge to stand on makes me feel like not confident enough to even try it. But I feel like herbalism is one of those things that you don't really know until you do it. Maybe that's just my learning style, but I feel like in general, I've witnessed this in other people that I've been studying herbalism in. It's like, once you actually make an infused oil, once you actually go and wildcraft rose petals, or once you you actually take a tincture and experience its effects, like, you don't really know what it's like. Like, you can study all you want and read all you want and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I feel like the big thing with herbalism is you need to just start somewhere. So what excites you the most about herbalism? Is it that you really want to, heal like itchy skin, or you have some kind of condition that you want to really see what would help it and experiment with different herbs? Or is it more so that you want to learn how to grow herbs and how to garden and how to make the most beautiful flowers to have as bouquets in your home? Or is it that you want to have drinks that taste really good, but you don't want all the sugar and stuff that's in soda? Like, there's so many different ways that you can apply herbalism to your life, and that's how you will learn, is to just move towards what excites you. Like, what's in season right now? What can you go and harvest? What can you learn more about? Like, if it's not even a time when a lot of is alive, can you learn more about mushrooms? Can you learn more about the trees? Like, there's always so much to learn, and that's what's the fucking best. So just choose one thing and start there for now. Okay, and in that same vein, I want to make a declaration in this video that folk herbalism is better than no herbalism. Okay, so if you don't know what folk herbalism, how do I even sum this up? Folk herbalism is different than clinical herbalism, which is more so what you will see if you go to, a certified professional herbalist, or if you're wanting to look at herbalism in a more medical, super scientific, super exact way. Then you're gonna be really exact about measuring things, and you're gonna be, knowing all the materia medica and knowing all the contraindications and knowing all these different constituents of the plants. And it's just like so much. And sometimes it can just feel so much when you're starting out that, you just want to make a tincture, but you have to measure all these things and blah, blah, blah. No, okay. And I feel like this is like a note to my past self, because I did get a little bit too into that and it definitely stopped me. But no, you can just learn the basic ratios, 2-to-1, 4-to-1, and remember that it's different if it's a fresh plant or a dried plant, and then just start making it and experimenting on yourself, okay? Like, you don't have to be making like top grade of medicines the very first time that you're experimenting with herbalism. Like, you don't have patients lining up waiting for you. Like, you can just experiment with yourself and try it on yourself and just see what works for you, what feels best, what seems to infuse the right way. Like, and everyone has their own style, but also there are just like recipes, that tried and true recipes that people know and that can help you learn faster. So yeah, just folk herbalism is amazing and I fucking love it. So maybe that's the way to go to start. Okay, numero 3. Okay, this one is so key. And it's kind of controversial, okay? Because at least here in Canada, you can go to different colleges and I don't know, universities probably. Probably, I'm essentially get a degree in herbalism. And in my opinion, I feel like in order to like actually learn herbalism, you need to be in person with the plants. And that doesn't mean you can't pair that with institutional learning, but I just feel like it's so essential and sometimes people don't realize that. And maybe, you know, you're living in a densely populated city and so that's not super realistic, but at least you could get like a rosemary plant and an oregano plant, you know, some culinary herbs, and grow them on your balcony or grow them in your windowsill, or you know, even just going for walks and wildcrafting. Like that could be accessible to anybody, and just being with the land, even not even taking anything or harvesting it, but just being with the land and learning to identify different plants. That can just be a great place to start. Like, I feel like what is missing so often is that we forget to actually be in person with the herbs, with the plants, and that's what we're trying to learn, is we're trying to get to know them just like a person. And how do you get to know a person if you're only ever accessing them in this like middleman way of like reading what other people have wrote about the plants? So I feel like this is like one of the top things, is go out there, either plant a garden, wildcraft, go for a walk somewhere and actually sit with the plants and connect to them. Okay, just accept that you will be a lifelong learner of herbalism, especially if you fucking love it like I do. Like once you start to dip your toes in and it's like, I can't get enough, like you need to just like splash it all over you because it's just so deeply satisfying and interesting. And yeah, it just goes on forever. Like it never ends. There's thousands of plants out there. There's so many different lands and climates, and like this earth is so diverse, and that's what's so magical. And also like our ailments are so diverse, and the ways that you can create medicine are so diverse. So there's just like a lifelong experience, a lifelong path that you're now getting to walk. You're entering the doorway of your plant path, and it's such a long road ahead. So just accept now that you're not an expert, and maybe you never will be. But yeah, that like you can't learn it all in a day, right? Like you just can't. And that's what's amazing about it. So embrace it. Number 5 is, honestly, I know I just said that you don't need to know everything before you start, but once you have started, it can be so life-changing to actually take a course about herbalism, to actually learn from a mentor, to be like experiencing the knowledge of someone else and be in the presence of someone who holds all this wisdom around something you're excited about. That can be so profoundly transformative for you if you give yourself that gift to hopefully in person take a course, or you know, have a mentorship or some kind of apprenticeship with an herbalist. Like, oh my god, this has changed my life. Like I felt like I knew some things about herbalism, but I didn't actually really know until also you're witnessed in relationship with other herbalists. And yeah, like group courses are so fucking incredible. I just finished a course with the most amazing mentors, Story and Dane, here on Salt Spring Island, and I did an 8-month course through their farm, the Wild Folk Farm, and yeah, it has just changed my life in all the most beautiful ways. And yeah, I just can't recommend enough that like it will expedite your learning so quickly, even just to get those foundations. Like you can learn on your own, and that's so important to experiment and explore, but then you reach a phase where you're no longer the fool, like in the tarot, like that's the very first card, and then you move into different archetypes where you're trying on different hats. And I just think it's so important, and it's something that's missing a lot in Western society. I feel like we put institutions like universities and colleges up on a pedestal, but we forget about just the profound wisdom of elders and people who've actually experienced the knowledge that we're looking for. So yeah, go find a cool herbalism course hosted by, you know, a farm or an herbalist near where you live, and watch your life explode with amazing herb friends and knowledge. You made it to the last tip, which is the most important of all. Congratulations. It's like you're in a video game and like, you made it to the very end. So the most important tip that I have for you is to remember that you are reclaiming and remembering an ancient ancestral skill that is already within you. And that you can let go of all the fear that you're holding around this knowledge and around herbs and plants. I feel like so many of us, as beings who have been witches in past lives, of beings who are connected to lineages of healers who have been ridiculed or killed because of the knowledge that they hold, we have so much fear. And then also in society, it's like, oh, you need to talk to a doctor, you need to, you know, only seek connection to these plants if it's deemed okay by some kind of middleman. And I feel like it's such a reclamation as our role as, you know, just like living beings, humans of this earth, to really reclaim that we can just connect on our own to these plants and get to know them on our own and heal ourselves through this connection on our own. And that might feel kind of scary. And so, you know, there are so many plants that are seen as more gentle or less intimidating to connect to. Like you could just start with like mint or lemon balm or chamomile, you know, lavender, like ones that you're already familiar with, that you already probably have had a soap that had it in it. You've already had mint tea or whatever it might be, you know, it's already been sprinkled into your life up until now. Like start by just connecting to those ones that you already know. And slowly I feel like you'll start to remember that like this is already in me, right? Like this isn't actually something brand new. This is a remembrance within me, and I can reclaim my power as someone who is connected to plants and who's a being of this earth, and that I don't need to be afraid. Because I know I've felt so much fear around certain plants where I hear these different myths or these different like scary, ominous things about them, but really it's so contextual, and it's so like based on the dosage, and it's so based on the person, and like there's so much nuance about life, obviously. So yeah, I just want you to know that you don't need to be afraid, that this is such an exciting journey that you have ahead of you, and you're ready to do it now. And I'm just so excited for you because it has changed my life in ways I never would have imagined. And it's such a big part of my life now, and I'm so grateful because it makes my life feel so much more whole. Like life is just wholesome when, you know, you can go and pick some rose hips, or you can go and have a tea that you grew yourself, or you always know that you have these friends that are here to support you no matter where you're at, what waves you're flowing through. Yeah, it's so beautiful. So yeah, that's the video for today. I'm so excited to share more about herbalism. I have such a fire ignited within me right now about this topic, and I feel like I need to share about it more on this channel because, oh, it's such a huge part of my life. So thank you so much for being here. I'm sending a new plant ally your way, whichever one is most aligned for you to connect to, whether it's one you already know and it's time to deepen that connection, or it's a new one that's meant to come into your life. I'm sending one your way now so you can start walking your plant path with a new plant friend. Yeah, have a beautiful rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Mwah!